Hello, and welcome to the Inclusive Insights, the show for leaders by leaders, with valuable insights and tips to supercharge your leadership. I'm your host, Neetu Razdan, and today we have a vital conversation lined up for you. We'll be exploring the delicate art of thriving in chaos, managing work-life harmony with preserving psychological safety. Before we jump in, let's set the stage. In the hustle and bustle of our modern lives, the lines between work and personal life often blur, especially post-COVID. Balancing our professional commitments with our personal lives can be a real challenge. Today, we are joined by an expert who is here to shed light on this topic. We today have Mylene with us. Mylene has almost more than a quarter century of experience in leadership roles, some of them with large companies like Enterprise Rent-A-Car, Boeing. She runs her own consulting practice called Leadership Ladder that focuses on elevating leadership and human engagement in organizations. Welcome to the podcast, Mylene.
Thank you so much, Neetu. I'm excited to be part of this conversation with you. I appreciate the opportunity to have this discussion.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. To kick things off, let's define our terms. What exactly is work-life harmony, and how does it differ from traditional concept of work-life balance?
Well, first of all, I love that you use the term harmony because it denotes a coming together, kind of like music, right? Musical notes come together, rather than the image that I get of being on a tightrope when I hear the term balance. Because work-life harmony is about bringing together these huge components of our worlds. It isn't just about dividing your time. It's about ensuring that your personal and professional pursuits come together. They're woven, they enrich, they complement one another. So unlike work-life balance, which implies an equal split, perhaps, of time, and let's get real, Neetu, when is it ever equal? Work-life harmony recognizes that sometimes work's gonna get dibs. It's gotta happen. When other times your personal life has to be the priority.
Awesome. That's a beautiful, beautiful definition for both work-life balance and work-life harmony, and a crucial distinction. So how does maintaining work-life harmony tie into preserving psychological safety?
That's a big question, Neetu. I believe that psychological safety actually allows the harmony to come to life, to become something. And for that to happen, at some point, we're going to have a discussion about corporate and team culture, because leaders and managers play a critical role in creating the environment where we feel safe, where individuals, where employees feel safe to speak up, to take risks and bring their whole selves to the workplace without repercussions. When psychological safety is compromised, because we can't be authentic, we don't feel comfortable asking for help on a project at work, we're afraid of failure, we don't feel comfortable challenging a concept or an idea, then stress becomes the dominant dynamic. So when we're building towards work-life harmony, this helps reduce that stress and it allows us to bring our best selves to work. When we do that, we can now help others build psychological safety and really have that be a continuous and constant part of our workplace.
Wow, that's awesome, because I'm thinking in my head that it is so important for us as leaders to make sure that we do, focus on psychological safety at workplaces where our employees feel valued, respected, and empowered to contribute, through their best efforts. I do
Sure.
have some experience where I have at least talk to, you know, I would say, oh my, I can't even count, lots of, individuals that were kind of afraid. I mean, they had the fear of
Yeah.
humiliation, retribution, or some kind of adverse consequences at workplace if they, raise their hand or bring up an issue.
Right.
So such an important thing to build the, work culture and have the right mindset. Yet we don't talk enough about it, but I'm glad we are having this conversation today. So it's all about creating a conducive environment, both at
Mhm.
work and I feel like at home. We also need to have that psychological safe environment. I think it can't work.
Mhm.
One place is safe and one isn't. I think we have to have, psychological safety all around us. So let's kind of get practical and talk about some strategies that can that individuals and organizations can adopt to navigate the chaos of modern, world while preserving work life harmony and the psychological safety.
Absolutely. Um, you talk about the blending of these worlds, right? And this is where I think first and foremost, it is essential for us, for individuals, for teammates to set some clear boundaries. In order to do that, you need to bring in all that are involved in this, right? So I always recommend work with your partner, your spouse, your family to really sit down and define, when does work start and when does it end? Is it going to be the phone call at 10 o'clock at night every night, or just when there are big projects happening? When does work begin? When does it end? And how do you manage that, not just at the office, but in today's world where we are working remotely? How do you define those things and set those boundaries so everyone has a clear understanding of what we're all trying to build together?
Yeah, I mean, wow, talking about setting boundaries, I set them in my head all the time, but I think the key is making sure we communicate it very effectively and clearly to our colleagues or to our managers or even to our family members. Um, it's such a
I couldn't agree with you more. Yes.
pretty complex. So earlier on, you mentioned the role leaders and managers can play. How can
Mhm.
organizations contribute to this effort? What role does the organizational culture play in supporting work-life harmony and psychological safety?
So I'm going to backtrack a tiny bit to this communication piece because you're right. There needs to be effective communication. I would also offer that the communication needs to be consistent and specific to the team, to your employees, to your managers, to your family members. And this is where that kind of intersection of communication, managers, and now organizations and companies can all come together on this, right? If
Mhm.
you are setting your boundaries, Neetu, in my opinion, and you're talking to your managers about this consistently, and your managers are supportive in that, then what does the bigger picture look like? I completely agree that organizations play a huge role in this. Organizations that support a culture of flexibility, of empathy, of understanding, that's the first big step towards building this psychological safety, right? Do they believe in these things? Are they willing to trust each other? And is this part of the way an organization works? Companies can also implement policies that support this. They can provide tools that encourage their teammates to learn about and build work life harmony. They can promote mental health awareness because that's part of this too, taking care of our mental health through the boundaries, through the open communication. And they can offer resources to our teammates so that the teammates can better manage their stress, better manage their workloads. And all of this has that underlying communication element that you've already talked about. Effective, consistent communication. This is what can help people manage that stress and those workloads and now build an effective workplace.
I love that you went back a few steps and talked about, communicating and how to effectively communicate this. But I also feel, you kind of opened the door to this psychological safety piece a little bit
Mhm.
more. Um, I can go back in time and, or even now, think about what we do or what we do as leaders. I think the biggest thing any leader can do is lead by example, right?
Yes.
You as a leader in your company set the tone. When we as leaders or managers, whether it's middle management or executives, when you show vulnerability, when we acknowledge that, hey, we made mistakes, and when we actively seek feedback, it encourages people look up to you all the time. It encourages them to actually do the same, right? I think um that's one thing, leading by example. I think other few things that we at least do at Pointerz is encourage open dialogue, and all about it. Like, we are all about, hey, feedback, help each other. you know if you have something in your mind, you feel there is something that can help the company or that can help another employee get better, or any customer to kind of perform better. So just encourage open dialogue in your little domain, wherever whatever your area of responsibility is. um Embracing feedback, again, going back, people give feedback, others shouldn't feel offended, and it should be constructive. I can think of like probably 10 different strategies of how we can foster feedback. But at the
Yes.
same time, I'm also thinking, what have we observed? Why does it matter to have psychological safety? I mean, in my tenure as a leader or even as an employee, I feel like there are so many benefits. First of all, increased employee engagement. You do not have that, dark cloud on your head, or you don't feel the stress. Oh my God, I'm going to work. You feel like, wow, I'm going to work and I'm going to learn something new, or, just have have this amazing day with my colleagues. I think I have seen people solve problems better because they
Mhm.
don't feel anyone is judging them. A lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of heightened trust within the organization. When that happens, people feel free to communicate or share, and because they trust. And then innovation, I think at the end of the day, it's definitely a way to enhance innovation within the company, because people feel free to take risks and just go with it. Wow. This
Completely. And you prompted a couple of thoughts for me, Neetu. Psychological safety, in my opinion, has can't come without transparency and trust. And those are the things that you've talked about. And it is something that I really appreciate about what Pointerz does in your tool. The fact that I, as an employee, can see the goals and objectives all the way up the chain of command.
Mhm.
That level of transparency allows me to now see where can I plug in, where can I help, where can I apply my skills. And if that transparency coupled with trust from the leader, so the leader believes in what you can do, knows you can do it, empowers you to do it, those are the components that then now reinforce as well as build in some places that psychological safety piece. So I think there's a lot of great parallels that you brought up, and I'm glad that you shared that.
Awesome. I mean, the advice from you, invaluable. I can just sit here and talk about it all day long, but I feel like what you have said about psychological safety, or working through work-life harmony, is super invaluable. But as we wrap up, could you share some final thoughts on the importance of thriving in chaos while maintaining work-life harmony and psychological safety?
For sure. It's very easy in this day and age to get caught up in the churn, is what we called it at Boeing. It's a fast paced environment. Everything's happening all at once. Different priorities are shifting and moving at given times. And that chaos starts to breed that level of stress. So here is where I think intentionality is important. Intentionally seeking to improve or build workplace or work life harmony, excuse me, and intentionally preserving, being a proponent of psychological safety for yourself, for your family, for your teammates. All of those things contribute to an environment where where our teammates, where everyone can not only survive the drama, the chaos, all that is swirling, but allows people to thrive, both at work and at home. So, intentionality of those boundaries, intentionality of communication, intentionally building our ability to execute or grow in work life harmony. All of those things, I think, really come together and can now give us a place to breathe and let us be our best self.
Amazing. Thank you so much for this summary. And thank you so much for joining us today, Mylene, and sharing your insights on this crucial topic.
It was such a pleasure. Always so fun to speak with you. Thank you for the opportunity to have the conversation.
And there you have it, folks. Work-life harmony and psychological safety are not mutually exclusive, but rather interconnected. By applying the strategies discussed today, we can all navigate the chaos of our modern lives more and successfully. Thank you for tuning in to Inclusive Insights. Be sure to subscribe for more engaging conversations on topics that matter. Until next time, remember, finding harmony in chaos is not just a dream, it's a skill we can all develop. Thank you.